Imagine this. You're a German commander in 1944, standing in a French village scanning the horizon with your binoculars. You see hundreds of tanks lined up, artillery cannons aimed, radio chatter buzzing, all signs of an impending American attack. You call in reinforcements, prepare your troops, and brace for battle. But when your forces arrive, there's no army, no tanks, no guns. Just empty fields. You've been fooled by sound, by sight, and by imagination. Welcome to one of the strangest, most astonishing true stories in American history, the Ghost Army. In the midst of World War II, while millions of soldiers fought across Europe, the U.S. military quietly formed a secret unit that would never fire a single bullet. Its weapon? Deception. Officially called the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, this mysterious unit consisted of about 1,100 men, artists, actors, sound engineers, designers, and architects. Their mission was to make the enemy believe that a massive U.S. Army was positioned where, in reality, there was almost nothing. They used rubber tanks, fake radio transmissions, sound recordings of gunfire, and even painted illusions to mislead the Nazis. The story began in 1944, just after the D-Day landings in Normandy. The Allies were advancing eastward, but the Germans were still powerful and unpredictable. American generals needed a way to disguise troop movements and confuse enemy intelligence. That's when the Ghost Army came to life, a creation of the U.S. Army's top-secret deception division, inspired by British spoof units that had used similar tricks earlier in the war. Among the Ghost Army were future famous artists like Ellsworth Kelly, Arthur Singer, and Bill Blass, who later became one of America's leading fashion designers. They carried sketchbooks instead of rifles, and paintbrushes instead of grenades. Yet their mission was as dangerous as any combat role, because if the Germans ever discovered their ruse, these men would be slaughtered instantly. The Ghost Army's genius lay in four main types of deception: visual, sonic, radio, and theatrical. Visual deception involved life-size inflatable tanks, jeeps, trucks, and artillery. From a distance, or through a spy's binoculars, they looked real. They would arrange them carefully, even leaving tire tracks in the mud to sell the illusion. Sonic deception came next. Engineers from Bell Labs recorded the sounds of armored divisions, engines rumbling, guns firing, trucks moving, and played them on massive loudspeakers hidden in forests. The sound could travel up to 15 miles, creating the terrifying illusion of an entire army moving through the night. Radio deception was perhaps the most sophisticated. Specially trained soldiers mimicked the communication patterns of real army units. They knew how to use authentic military slang and timing so that German intelligence, intercepting the signals, would be convinced that a particular division was in a certain location, even though it wasn't. Finally, there was theatrical deception. Soldiers in the Ghost Army played roles like actors. They dressed in different uniforms, drove jeeps between towns, and spread rumors in local cafes, pretending to be officers from divisions that didn't exist. Every gesture, every word, every illusion mattered. They were in essence performing a massive wartime theater, where the audience was the German army. One of their greatest operations took place in September 1944, near the French town of Metz. The real 6th Armored Division had secretly moved north, leaving the area vulnerable. The Ghost Army stepped in to fill the void. In just 2 days, they inflated hundreds of rubber tanks, set up fake artillery, blasted recorded battle sounds, and began transmitting bogus radio messages. German reconnaissance planes reported large concentrations of U.S. armor, and Nazi commanders redirected their forces right into a trap. The real U.S. divisions were now free to move without being detected. This deception saved thousands of American lives.
Another remarkable operation occurred during the Rhine River crossing in March 1945. As the Allies prepared for one of the most crucial attacks of the war, the Ghost Army staged a massive fake crossing 10 miles south of the real one. The Germans shifted artillery and reinforcements toward the fake site, allowing General Patton's Third Army to cross the Rhine with minimal resistance. That single act of deception accelerated the fall of Nazi Germany. But what made this story even more incredible was its secrecy. For more than 50 years, the entire existence of the Ghost Army remained classified. The men who had risked their lives using creativity and illusion could not tell anyone, not their families, not their friends, what they had done during the war. Their medals, their courage, their contribution to victory, all remained invisible. It wasn't until the 1990s that the truth began to emerge thanks to historians and surviving veterans who finally shared their stories. The U.S. government officially declassified the Ghost Army project, revealing thousands of documents, photos, and recordings that stunned the public. In 2022, nearly 8 decades after their service, the Ghost Army finally received the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest honors in the United States. President Joe Biden signed the bill, recognizing their unique and highly distinguished service that saved countless lives through tactical imagination and courage. The Ghost Army reminds us that wars are not only fought with weapons, but also with creativity, psychology, and human ingenuity. These men did not destroy cities, they saved them. They didn't kill enemies, they outsmarted them. In a world consumed by destruction, they chose deception as a means of protection. Their story remains one of the most extraordinary secrets of World War II, a tale where art became armor, and imagination became the greatest weapon of all.